U.S China trade war, tech and tariff battle. What began in 2018 as a trade dispute over tariffs has now evolved into a high-stakes economic and technological war between the world's two largest economies, the United States and China. This conflict isn't just about trade anymore. It's a battle for dominance in technology, raw materials, and global influence. In January 2018, then-President Donald Trump launched the U.S. China trade war, accusing China of unfair trade practices, intellectual property theft, and forced technology transfers. The goal was to address the trade deficit and protect American industries. In response, China accused the U.S. of protectionism and imposed retaliatory tariffs on American goods. As the trade war escalated, it shifted focus to technology. In 2019, the Trump administration targeted Huawei, accusing the telecom giant of posing national security risks through potential surveillance via its 5G equipment. Washington blacklisted Huawei and restricted its access to critical American semiconductors and software like Google's Android, crippling its operations. The U.S. even pressured allies like the UK and Australia to ban Huawei equipment. Huawei attempted to bypass these restrictions by sourcing chips from non-U.S. suppliers. In turn, U.S. imposed stricter regulations, prohibiting foreign suppliers from selling chips to Huawei if those chips were manufactured using American technology. Huawei's smartphone sales plummeted, forcing it to pivot to new industries. By 2020, the two nations reached a Phase 1 trade deal under which China committed to buying $200 billion in U.S. goods over 2 years, while the U.S. reduced some tariffs but kept many in place. However, China fell short of meeting its purchase commitments, and tensions continued to simmer. Sweeping export controls were introduced in 2022 and 2023 to block China's access to advanced AI chips and AI chips-making equipments, key components for AI and military systems. The goal was clear: to hinder China's advancement in high-tech industries and safeguard U.S. technological dominance. In July 2023, China struck back by restricting exports of gallium and germanium, controlling 80% and 60% of the global supply, respectively. Later in November, it imposed limits on high-purity graphite, a key material in EV batteries. This dealt a significant blow to U.S. EV ambitions, as China controls 95% of synthetic graphite production and almost all of graphite refining. All these materials are essential for advanced semiconductors, electric vehicle batteries, and AI technologies. The back and forth escalated further in 2024. In September, China banned antimony exports to the U.S., a mineral critical for semiconductors and military explosives. Prices doubled within months, leaving U.S. industries scrambling. In response, the Biden administration tightened semiconductor export controls, adding 140 Chinese firms to its entity list and expanding restrictions to include AI chips and foreign-made equipment using U.S. technology, requiring special approval for shipments. The Biden administration also raised tariffs on Chinese goods to historic levels. By September 2024, electric vehicles faced 100% tariffs, with solar cells and critical minerals seeing increases of up to 50%. China retaliated again, opening an antitrust investigation into NVIDIA, a U.S. company dominating 90% of the global AI chip market. The timing, days after the U.S. expanded chip export restrictions, was no coincidence. This trade war isn't confined to the U.S. and China. It's reshaping global supply chains. Companies are shifting production to countries like Vietnam, India, and Mexico to reduce reliance on both nations. However, these shifts come at a cost. Trade diversion often results in higher costs for U.S. companies and consumers. Over 70% of diverted trade has moved to nations with similar or higher production costs. This conflict goes beyond economics. It's a battle for global supremacy. The U.S. is determined to maintain its lead in technology, while China is leveraging its control over critical industries and resources to counter U.S. restrictions. Subscribe to Knowledge Central for more updates.